Hello everyone, welcome back. Finally, we are live with day 7 of us reviewing awesome websites from crazy places online. This is going to be an extremely fun episode because today we are also covering something I'm super extra excited about, so keep on watching. If you are a UI designer who is also working on your own portfolio, maybe thinking about launching your own career, it makes sense to have case studies. Before we start, it makes sense to have case studies with all of your projects. So for that exact purpose, we have the case studies free masterclass happening today at 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time. You can sign up for the masterclass with the link in the pinned comments. And with that, let's just get started. Today's sites are going to be 6 of the most awesome, insane UI designs you've seen in an extremely long amount of time. And it's just, you're going to get a kick out of all of these awesome sites. So let's just really quickly get started with the sites that we have today. All of these are awards sites of the year, which means they've been taken after the entire year and just the best sites of the year according to awwwards.com. So we're going to take a look into 6 of those and try to find out common patterns, similarities, UI UX designs, patterns, stuff to do right, stuff they've done wrong, and hopefully learn a thing or two about UI design. This is going to be super duper fun. Let's just really quickly jump right into it. Alright, so the very first site that we're going to be talking about today is called KickB. It's the site of Kick Festival, and it's just a fun new site. It has a lot of different concepts that we haven't seen previously, and it has so many different things that we have seen differently. So just taking on this new approach is a whole other fun market in itself. Let's just try to break down what's happening here. So again, this is a very different site. This is a very weird site as far as it compares to it goes for sites. But let's just talk about what this site does, how it works, really quickly get started with that. Alright, so the very first thing that I noticed right off the bat here is there is a weird video, and I'm calling it weird, but it could be deemed good. Maybe it just has that weird, I don't know if you call it sonographic, I don't know what, carbon dating, just this weird thermal imaging video vibe, which is so extremely a little unnerving to look at, because this is granted this is the site of the year for, I believe, 2016. I don't know what is exactly going on here, and I don't know why they have an infinitely playing video. This could have something to do with renders and 3Ds and stuff like that. Let's just keep on exploring, see what we get out of this site. I'm pretty sure there is something going on, not exactly sure what. There is a nicely made navigation bar which does make things a little bit nicer. So there is this logo and then a couple of navigation buttons. Each of them have a bottom arrow, that a bottom border that comes up when you hover over it, so that's kind of cool. And when you click on these main buttons, hover on them, you get this beautiful opposite color field, which is also quite nice to see. A lot of buttons at the top, but overall I am a little bit unnerved by what the hell is going on with this. I mean, if there was a little more context here, if they had written a couple of lines to tell us what they were trying to do, maybe things would have been a little more simple, but up until now it's quite unnerving. Alright, so this is, I believe, where the main site starts. It's actually quite a fun layout as far as layouts are concerned, a little innovative as well, and I do like it. However, from what I'm getting up until now, this is not the best made site in the whole world. And also the fact that it just feels like images and videos have also been shoved into a weird corner. Maybe don't get me wrong, there is a ton of white space, good. There is a difference in font sizes, good. But at some point, stuff just starts to get boring, and it would make sense to have a couple of images, a couple of icons, something to keep things interesting. At some point, this just becomes a huge slab of text that you just get bored of way too quickly, even before you get started and get completed with the whole thing. So there is a little bit of that unnerving factor here. This whole site seems a little bit unnerving to me, which is a surprise since this is all that I do on the internet. And also I like this weird approach with the dashes and lines and stuff. And also, if you take a look at this UI, just this much of the viewport, you see a little bit of space here, a little bit of space at the bottom. And also this get tickets marquee tag, which sort of gets black when you hover over it, is also super duper fun to look at, especially considering the fact that this is quite uncommon. Like, you have marquee tags on websites, when you hover over them sometimes they get black, but having a marquee tag which is continuously going and then also making it black when you hover over it with this really nice swift feel, and also icons to break the boringness, this is just a really good section. And I would have loved if the site started from here, if I'm going to be honest, because up until this point, what, forgive my language, what diarrhea happens is just it bothers me a little, to say the least. And also we have this infinitely playing video, but if you look at it too long, it will give you vertigo. It just makes my head spin a little bit. So that's all I can say, meh. And also there is a little bit of space at the top, which I love, because especially when you have a lot of these very heavy packed up spaces, it's nice to have a little bit of breathing room. It's nice to have a little bit of space. Say hi everybody in the chat, because this is going to be super duper fun to look at. Again, I would have loved the site if it started from here, because everything above this is just pure shit, if I'm being honest. Also, when you hover over it, you get this really nice pull up from the bottom, change the color, just opposite appeal. I love the fact that they haven't used many colors over here. Black and white works well, at least for this layout. And also, because if you're working with an unconventional layout, if you're doing something like this, a grid which is not seen before, like this is quite similar to maybe a bento weird grid, but it's still not having border radiuses and gaps and stuff. So if there is an unconventional grid going on, it's usually a good idea to stick to not that many colors, or just black and white if that just suits your boat. It's nice to have black and white images if the whole layout is black and white. As far as that is concerned, there is a sizable difference in font sizes. Imam says hi, hello, welcome. Rohan says hi, hello you guys. Just before we continue on, I'd just like to remind you, if you're all UI designers and you want your own case studies and you want to know the shortest, the brightest, quickest path to build your own case studies, there is a link in the pinned comments live chat. Just sign up really quickly. It happens at 8 p.m. There is going to be a live group call with me and with all of our wonderful UI designers. You'll discover the quickest way. It also has a couple of AI elements to it, so that also handles your concerns. And it just happens at 8 p.m. You can join us live, or you can watch it on YouTube, but I would recommend live, because you can ask all of your questions face to face. So that's going to be so much fun. Sign up now. You're going to miss it. It just happens once. So just sign up. First link. Alright, with that said, let's just go to this text. I like the fact that they've just sort of put this really chic, uncaring vibe in their whole quotes. This will be boring, and I believe if you click on all of the others, aubergines, talking genitals, and the oldest women in the world, it's just boring stuff, and here they have nothing at all. So if you end up reading this section, it will be a lot of whimsy, there will be a lot of fun, so that definitely is there to stay with you. Again, unconventional layout, you can try to replicate this if you want to, but it does have this really nice packed feel, especially when you have all of these white spaces. It just lets you be more expressive and more fun. And again, this is the same exact marquee tag, which when you hover over it, it has this really nice shift black overlook appeal happening to it, which I absolutely love, because this and the other one at the same time are perfect examples of the concept. If you have made a good UI design component, make sure to use it a couple of times in your UI, just to give it a very similar look and feel. And also the fact that when you sort of come to this place, this functions as a really nice header. Even when there is no navigation bar, this just functions as a really nice header, so they don't need to make the navigation bar and the header and stuff sticky. So that's again I just feel like this is a very common pattern in this side. Like, this is the third time we're seeing space at the top, same exact font size, a little bit smaller font size, but this by far is the best layout they've had in this site. So that's also complete stars from me. Again, this is a good card layout, if as far as card layouts are concerned. If you guys want to see how to build your own case studies, taking into account AI, using the quickest principles, best templates in the world, make sure to sign up with the link in the live chat. Do not miss it. It happens at 8 p.m. Indian Standard Time today, which is like in 1.5 hours. So you'll get to join me and everyone else on a live Zoom call, and we can just talk about questions, talk about the doubts you have with case studies, address your concerns, and of course build case studies. That's going to be fun. Krunal, if you want me to roast your portfolio, just send it on the Discord group. It should be in the description, so you'll find the link to the Discord group in the description, one of the first comments we have, or you can find it with the channel. So just send it in the Discord group, and we'll of course make a video on roasting portfolios. Ankush says hi, hello, welcome. Khalid says sorry I'm busy right now, but I will watch this completely. Love from Karachi. Thank you so much, that's so nice. All right, let's just get to this. I love this image. I love this weird Snapchat small face filter. It's just a really nice vibe to watch, and also the spacing and everything. Like, I could go into detail right now talking about 32 pixels of excellent spacing, but my point will always be the same. My point will be that this spacing, this everything just works so well. Just this is just the perfect thing if you want to copy it. Like, of course not, I don't recommend plagiarism, but as far as spacing is concerned, I think they're getting it very close to perfect. So this is as sort of close to perfect as it gets in real time. Again, same exact marquee tag which sort of gets black when you hover over it. Love. And also, when things get boring, ladies and gentlemen, switch your background color. I've said it 1,000 times and I will say it again, which reminds me my camera is also a little bit weird in its angle, but things did get boring, and then they just had the same exact layout. Don't worry if you think this layout in itself is unnerving. They had the same layout, spacing over here, text over here, a little bit of spacing where you need it, and also these overly long arrows, which is also quite nice to look at. But when the layout got boring after like 3 or 4 iterations, because you would remember in the last section I did say I am noticing this for the 4th time now. So they are inside your psyche, they are knowing what you're experiencing as a user, which is the sure shot sign of a good UI UX designer. I like that. And also the fact that they have managed to get the colors for images exactly right. I see this so often in sites that are made by beginners, especially in UI design. When you have a certain color feel going on with your site, you are not able to maintain it with your images, which is a problem as far as websites are concerned. So when you have a black background, make sure you have an image that also has a black background, that also has this weird black and white zebra stripes kind of feel. Just works well together. And again, things were getting boring, so they added the whole black background. But this is the important part. If you add a black background to make things less boring, and then add this whole huge chunk of text, which is the absolute god of being boring, to say the least. Like, why? What? I don't know what to say anymore, because they tried to like what do you think about this? Because I am so out of words, like having this whole tactic giving me the vibe. I noticed these sites for the first time ever, just getting a couple of images and stuff from thumbnails. Why would you change the background color of a website, get it to be less boring, and also at the same time just make it the most boring chunk of text you've ever seen? Like, this is downright comical in my opinion. Downright comical. Call what you have to, it's just downright comical. And also there's a ton of white space, which is quite nice if you're trying to balance things out, but it's a weird comical feel which is just meh. Like, sometimes all you can say is meh, and that just tells you what I'm thinking at every stage. Absolutely. Also, you have a space, a little bit of spacing here, a little bit of spacing there, proper spacing, proper oversized fonts used to perfection. Love it, absolutely. And also this video that sort of plays infinitely, I don't think it's controlled by my cursor, although that would have been a good effect to have. It's actually quite simple to make. If you guys want to see it, just leave your I want to see it in the comments. And also there's a little bit of space here, a little bit of space there, super duper fun stuff. And also just the way they've implemented the passes gives so much modern look and feel to me. Like, it's hard to believe this is website of the year from like 6 years ago. This is getting a little bit into the future and modern technology, which is the place where they'd get good points. Like, they have a little bit of space and then they fuel you over for their busy packed up layout. Like, check out the intricacy that has gone into making these cards, like awesome stuff. Although I am a little bit of, I do have my reservations about this color gradient. Who goes from light purple to deep pink and then just have also a shade of yellow in the middle? This does not make sense as far as that is concerned. Otherwise, it's just in as soon as you get to it, as soon as you start noticing it, you feel like it's cool, but 5 seconds later it just gets weirdly boring for me. So I do have my weird reservations about how this looks. It has a couple of good things, it has a couple of bad things. Should I go into detail about what's good and what's bad with these? Just leave Y or N for yes or no in the comments, and I'll go from there, because I could just go on for another half hour about all of these, but would that even be interesting? Like it does make me question. Let's just, you know what, this is boring as far as boring is concerned. You think it's going to be innovative, but I don't know, the whole circle, square, close, open vibe, just like I'm about these intricacies, but at the end of the day it doesn't look good because of the gradients. The only reason this doesn't look good is because of the gradients. If they had a white or yellow plain shade in the background, I might have gone into detail, but this doesn't even look good on the screen, so I'm just going to keep on scrolling. This is comparatively decent, not the best, comparatively decent. I like the fact that they worked super duper hard on getting these vector shapes right, but the background gradient just made things messy for me, made things trash for me from there. And also weird whole text box, like why would you want to go into such depths when you could give a read more button and just have a little bit of lines there? Like you could just make all of the things smaller and then have the option to sort of read more. That could just work here, but this just gets extremely boring. And also this is not the best gradient in the world, so I'm just going to skip it. Sometimes I do question how sites like these reach the best site of the year when there are so many other better sites happening, and that has nothing to do with my sites, that has nothing to do with the sites I favor. Just with tech in general, there is just so much great stuff happening, so it just leads you to question this whole selection process. It quite honestly does. Also, we have this blue top vibe which could have gone above this whole Baki tag a little bit, well, because if you start a page off with this much motion and if you keep on doing it 6 to 8 different times, it just gets really spin your heady feely, and I don't know if I'm getting my point across. Like, how easy is it for this site to just give you vertigo if you keep on like looking at it long enough? So that's definitely messing with my head a little bit. So much motion, and color is just plain old -1 and just color is just plain old trash, and then there is a lot of motion. So I don't know how to even start rating it, because when they do good, it's the best of days, but 5 seconds later they have this huge chunk of text in your face which annoys me to death. So it's just one of those things where you don't even know. Like, I would probably rate this a 5, and we haven't even approached the end of the site yet. I would rate this a 5 simply because at one point your black and white layout starts working well, but at the other end, when you start to make things interesting, you have this huge chunk of text like we are fools trying to read it. I know I'm going off in a rant, but I have to, because what is the curve? Like, how do you start rating it? On one hand, your layout work is on point. On one hand, you know how to do color. On one hand, you know how to do white spaces right, and on the other hand, your first landing impression looks like this. So I am completely enraged by how weird it just how two-sided it is, and I don't know how to rate it. It's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of two-faced persona thing. So I am a little bit questioning about what I would give this if I were to suppose to give it a rating, and how it managed to make it to the top of the ladder, because you expect a common site of the year to have all of the best features, and it just disappoints you in so many ways as far as the best site is concerned. So that does have my concerns attached to it. Tushar says so much hard work. I do believe there is a lot of hard work, but that hard work happens for no weird reason, especially when your background gradient starts to look like this. It's just weird. It's just weird, to be honest. Tushar says good. Probably a couple of elements are good. Check out the spacing here. I do admire the spacing. The spacing looks nice, but at the end of the day, this text is just unbearable to look at. So that also has my concerns. And also, just weird stuff. Don't worry about this. This is my browser giving me, this is an email box kind of layout. Again, nothing special happens there. White space is on point, font size is on point, which is good for your site, but overall it's just a weird UI. Also, there's a little bit of there's a lot of white space, but they end up filling the white space with weird thermal imaging sort of motion, which is what it is. Like, I can't give comments without criticizing. And also, the footer is definitely interesting, the footer is intriguing. The footer does use the footer does use the trademark good layout expertise of the designer, if that's what you want to call it. I would go into detail with the footer, but this is extremely unnerving to look at, and also we have a lot of really more cool sites to look at, so we'll just go ahead with those ones, because this is just it just gives you the best experience, and 5 seconds later you're down a huge sugar crash. So it's just one of those sites where you're not sure what to do. This I saw this site a really long time ago, Beagle Folio, and it was just something that caught my attention. I used to be a beginner when I saw this, and just I thought, like, I didn't used to be very good as a UI designer back in the day, and then I used to think about this site and I used to admire whoever built this to an extreme degree, but now it's just, I don't even know if it's responsive anymore, so we might have to make our screens smaller. Let's hope this works, because I sure as hell hope it does. It is actually a very cool site, does have a lot of very cool motion, and also they get their colors right, and I'm saying that because I've seen this site before, but I'm not even sure if it's going to load, especially considering the number of considerations, the number of problems it has with the whole, I don't know, the whole loading aspect of it. So let's just go to another site, and as soon as this loads we can go to it back. And the next site we're talking about is Active Theory. Sure if it's going to load, especially theory. Let's just go to Active Theory and start to talk about this very cool gamer sort of feel. So as soon as this loads up, it has this weird neon gamer vibe, which I actually like. This is an infinitely playing video, also super duper cool stuff. This is the site from the thumbnail of this video, so if you were wondering about that. Again, this, I believe this has a lot of very cool gradients that sort of just move around whenever they want to, not controlled by your cursor. That would have been a good idea, but again, weird site. Let's just keep on scrolling. I like the fact that the work sort of changes in itself, and also this contact button which just changes all of these alphabets keeps your site dynamic, keeps your site not boring, keeps your site looking fun. So that's always there. Let's just keep on scrolling, and now when we scroll, this is where the fun stuff happens. Now when we scroll, this weird spiral just keeps scrolling with you and rotates like the whole DNA model that we sort of learned in school. So it does have a little bit of reminiscence with that. These sparkles come up as you're scrolling, so that's also a really nice effect to have for the user. Again, let's just keep on scrolling, and this is where one of those true dynamic moments happens. Very cool stuff, very cool stuff. This isn't even the whole low level layouts and white space. It does have the concepts of layout and white space, but it just does so much more than simply layout and white space that you have to wait for a moment and hold out on a round of applause for the way this site just works so well. Like, I like the whole fabric appeal with this. So when you hover over it, it just sort of functions like a fabric. There are a couple of libraries in JavaScript if you're interested in making this. This is a primarily JavaScript first approach to building out layouts, and just if you're building out like fabric UIs for Figma, make sure to leave that request in the comments as well, because fabrics for Figma is a whole other complicated can of worms to get into. But as far as the coolness of this site is concerned, this is a cool site, and also it just gets your layout right. Like, this whole diagonal theme is just vibing with me completely. And also this 3D render sort of just scrolls with your scrolling. So it's nice to see these websites where it could be a video, it could be a 3D render, but it sort of plays as you scroll. So if this was a video, it would play as you scroll. This could be a video, not the text, just this whole thing would be a video, and it just plays as you scroll, which is a very cool effect. Let me know if you want to see that in Figma. And also the whole cursor brush vibe never really leaves you. I am a little bit concerned with the weird gamer colors which just sort of start to malfunction every 5 seconds. I don't even know if it's on purpose, like, but this is a cool site to look at. If you're just willing to explore, this is a really really cool site to look at. It sort of looks like a spinal cord brain sort of the, not spinal cord, vertebral column bony feel, but other than that, it does look like a really really cool diagonal rotated tree. Like this does look like the vertebral column as far as inspiration is concerned, and also this looks like something I'm not going to talk about because, again, explicit. Let's just keep on scrolling. It does have a lot of really really cool 3D elements with it, like you'd never expect. This just takes you underwater, so you would never expect this to happen in normal average sites. I do approve of this site maybe getting site of the year. Color work is a little bit finicky, but maybe that's the vibe they were going for. Who's to say? The whole vibe does just works. A lot of 3D in this site. I believe you could achieve the same level of animation with like 3D renders and putting it in a video and then using it on a website, but as far as my opinion is concerned, I do believe it has a lot of 3D, which is just super cool. Fabric work, JavaScript work, completely on point, and also the way they hide text is extremely cool. It just feels like an Easter egg. Even the name and description of your brand just feels like an Easter egg. Maybe they could have made it a little bit brighter, but maybe that's just me nitpicking everything single thing at this point. Again, videos playing in the background, but opacity is reduced, and also you have this weird glittery feel. Why does this glittery feel, even though it has the whole gamer vibe, start feeling like Cinderella Barbie Princess Land at some point? Like, you could take all of these sparkles out of here and put them in a pink background, and that would show princess layouts. Again, I keep on scrolling, but nothing happens, so there is a little bit of section where nothing happens, but other than that, this is a 3D experience. This isn't even one of those conventional websites. This is a 3D experience. JavaScript heavy, extremely, and also fun to look at. The Beagle site was extremely cool. I was so excited to show you this, but this just seems to not load, even though I am on pretty good internet connectivity, so we're just going to give it time. Let's just go to the next site, Inside the Head. While this is loading, if you guys are looking to build your own case studies, I have got the simplest method to building case studies for UI UX designers, which also incorporates AI elements. So make sure to sign up with the first link in the live chat. Do not miss it. It happens at 8 p.m. today, so just in 1 hour, and you will be joining of cool stuff. Check out these colors, like the most wholesome, joyful experience ever, like the most wholesome color theme fill ever. Like, this is an image background, but it's just extremely cool. I do want to see what happens when you make it smaller. So this was my concern. Sometimes images aren't sticky, so when you make the page smaller or bigger, their size sort of changes, which does not happen with this site. So that's quite nice to see. The fonts also I love, and there is a difference in font see visual difference in font size, which is also cool stuff. A lot of spacing all around the page, which is nice to see. This button also sort of just and closes into this whole white background opposite font color effect, which is quite maybe it could have been at one or the other corners, but overall the whole color theme just makes the day for me. So I'm not going to question that a little bit more. I am scrolling, but why is nothing happening? Like, let's just try to make this smaller. Try and scroll. I don't think anything happens when you scroll, but a very very cool book chapter vibe goes on while you're exploring. Once you start with reading the chapters, hold on a minute. Apologies for the mic, you guys. That was clearly embarrassing, but here we go. Again, I love the fact that they are extremely illustration heavy. Colors just are of one single palette and work very very well. Same exact button effect was used in the landing page. Same exact button effect is used here, which is very very nice as far as uniformity is concerned. Again, if you guys are looking to launch your own case studies with your portfolio, make sure to sign up. It's the simplest masterclass, and I'm also going to give you the template at how to make any case study in the whole world, so do not miss it. Anyways, with that said, let's just continue. So the font actually remains the same, but these illustrations sort of move, which is a little bit different to what we're used to seeing. Usually illustrations just stay where they are, and then fonts and texts and stuff usually start to scroll and move, but this site is basically not scrollable, it's just shiftable, which is a fun play on your average UI. Let's just read this chapter because I am a little bit curious to see what is ahead. The color scheme is always kept the same. There is a ton of white space. Again, as far as a reading layout is concerned, if the site is only meant for reading and not so much the UI criticism, it just is very very simplistic, very very minimalistic. 100 points, completely working well with the vibe. And also it's actually quite nice to see the flip that they have made with the font sizes. It's too subtle if you don't notice it. Usually your title fonts, your little words, they are placed with your whole serif fonts, but and the reading fonts are usually sans serif fonts, but they've reversed that, so you have reading serif fonts and also navigation fonts as sans serif, which is a nice play on your average website. But also maybe they were going for the old English book novel vibe, which does fit the serif fonts very very well, so I am going to give them a kudos on that, because this works any way you want, and it is also navigable by the arrow keys on your keyboard, which is something nice to observe if you're on a laptop or a desktop. Again, super duper fun stuff. You can click on the next button, previous button, and also they give you a completion number here, which is quite nice to see. Maybe a completion scroll bar would have been even more intuitive, but those are a little bit more complex to build, and this is just the simplest way to do this using an array, so I am going to give them a pass on that, considering the fact that they've gotten like everything else so right. And now you can just jump out of that chapter and just basically sort of go around to different boxes. I'm just going to leave a couple of these, and you can see the extremely cool illustrations that they've sort of built up, and the whole vibe that sort of goes around. I don't know what this book is for, and that's just me, but who's to say? Let's just, you could read another chapter if you wanted to, but again it's the same exact layout. Things happen at the bottom, and this is this bar is just exclusively for navigating the book. This is exclusively for your chapters, and this continues to stay where it is. This about button does start to make a little more sense, especially now that it is aligned with the next button. When you were at the landing page, maybe this was starting to look out of place, but I'm just saying that because there is no logo at the top, neither here nor inside of any chapter, so the lack of logo does start to pin you after a little bit. If there was a logo with the exact same spacing, I wouldn't have to comment on this about button being so shifted from the right side too. So that's just again a very very small thing. Beagle Podio just keeps on loading. It was the one of the best sites I had seen when I started UI UX design, but now it just decided to not do anything, and we're going to give it a pass on that. Maybe if this works after this stream, we could do a video on this still, because I want to come back to how cool it is. Very very cool in motion design and colors, but again, let's just give it a pass. Alright, the next site we're taking a look at is super duper cool. I just saw this animation, and it gives you the whole modern feel, demands what it is exclusively. My brightness is not off for this display, it's actually just black with gray, which is a little bit questionable, but a good difference from what we've been seeing in all modern sites. The whole animation for this site, and I'm going to play it again because I'm such a fan of this, the whole animation for this site truly demands you don't have to do anything. It just sort of loads up, and then it just has this weird lightening feel. Truly demands what it wants. Site of the year, very well deserved from the start screen, no questions asked whatsoever. This marquee tag keeps on going. There is a logo coming on here, there is a navigation bar here, very very compact. I love it. Font size between this and this is extremely different. And also, did you check out this super duper cool laser? It's just so nice when they hijack your cursor and add an effect that you don't get to see that often. If you guys we are back. Now here's my primary dilemma. I have two systems. On the first system, audio keeps on going, and on the other system, there is a ton of background noise because the fan on that thing is like a generator, grrr, all the time. So I am not sure which one I should use because both of them have trade-offs, but at the end of the day, you guys have to bear with me because we're switching through all of this tech gear stuff. Destroys my heart absolutely with the way it just stops midstream. Super absolutely sorry for that. Let's just jump right back into what we were talking about. I hope the audio is coming now. Let me just go back and check. If it isn't, we'll just have to fix that. The audio is working fine. Let's just go back again. Laser. I'm not sure if you caught the last one. So this site basically demands the Site of the Year award right from the front. The whole cursor is hijacked with this laser pointer display thing, which is super duper cool to look at. Again, as far as laser pointers are concerned, I'm not sure if you guys have seen a particular developer blogging site called dev.to. If you download the mobile app and it goes offline, and if you try to open it offline, it also hijacks your cursor with the whole, or at least it used to when I saw it last, and it sort of just controls your cursor and gives you these 7 different colored lasers, and you can draw around with it, which is also something super duper cool that comes to mind. Dev.to mobile app offline, so do check it out if you're looking for super cool inspiration with lasers. But as far as I'm concerned, this is the second place where I've seen laser pointer cursor hijacking, especially in production. So I am going to have to give them kudos on the way they've just made it work. These fonts are literally slashed, which is nice for a site with Edge. There is a continuously playing video, and also every single time they do get space, especially in the middle of their text, they add a little bit of small text, important text elements that need to be placed, and then they're very very generous with their white space as well. So this is one of those layouts which you can basically just copy from right here. It just demands your attention right then, right there. So let's just keep on scrolling. Again, video in the background, which sort of works as a dual fiber, especially when you hover over it. So cursor hijacking on this site is on point, not too harsh but not too subtle either. I read an article somewhere which said developers and UI designers need to maybe cut back on the animation part because people get headaches when they watch it, and I thought that was quite infuriating. Read it on Twitter a long time ago and it was quite infuriating because it is an element of what makes these sites so cool, but at the same time there is a very large debate on how, when they're not implemented properly, they will give you a headache. They've given me headaches as well. So this site just does the perfect job at not giving you a headache while staying with animations. So this is the perfect middle ground. Absolutely a fan, complete fan. I believe this is Synchronized Digital Studios. Complete fan of how they've just made things work. Continuously playing video, text rotated to 90 degrees, which I believe we have done on the challenge of the whole challenge, what do we call it, 100 days of UI design, which happens at 8 p.m. every single day. Especially today, it is quite special because today we are going to be talking about how to make case studies as a UI designer. In fact, today's is going to be an interactive session. You can join me live on Zoom if you want to. Just click on the first link in the live chat, pin comment, sign up. It happens within 1 hour. You'll get to join me live on a Zoom call, and also it's going to be available on YouTube. If you want to ask your questions live, it is the perfect place. If you want to connect with UI designers, it is the perfect place. Do not miss it. Anyways, do not miss the live chat, pinned comment. It is the best thing that is going to happen to you as a UI designer in this month. Let's just say that, because it's the coolest thing we have ever planned in this month. Let's just keep on scrolling. Again, I love the fact that they've just taken a marquee tag, completed the whole circle with it, and then these texts sort of keep on going within arcs. This is actually a very, very cool effect to do in Figma. If you guys want to check it out, let me know. Again, this whole navigation what we do vibe is just so on point, especially with this whole list. It does not get boring, and the only reason it does not get boring is because their cursor and everything just keeps things super duper busy. Even if you have a lot of text, even if you are not in a position to be able to provide breakpoints for that text, even if your text gets boring, if your cursor is hijacked to give you like these laser super cool cursor fields, that will break apart the monotony by a whole lot. So let's just keep on going. Also, we have this really cool Mickey Mouse hand which just sort of animates when you cover in, and this video just keeps on going infinitely, which I am a fan of. It could be a video, it could be a GIF. Either ways works perfectly. This font is, again, to die for. The way this has just been executed to perfection, just most modern site ever given to you, and this site truly does. It's maybe the best site we're looking at today, although I haven't seen the other 1 or 2 sites that we have to, but it does truly demand the title of Sites of the Year, which is what we're reviewing today. Again, I love this card. It just gets darker when you hover over it, which is a cool opposite from what we usually see. Cards get lighter when you hover over them. It has happened a bunch of times. This card does an opposite 180 degree on that, which is quite nice to see. Weird vertical line that sort of directs you to where it is coming from. This is a very, very cool hack if you want to provide the user a lot of white space between your title and your description or your content. You just draw you just draw a diagonal line, and it just redirects users perfectly while maintaining a lot of white space. So this is just hybrid use of hybrid principles as far as that is concerned. Again, I believe this card is super cool, and from what I'm getting right now, they will duplicate it a bunch of times, use it over and over again, simply because when you make a good UI component, you reuse it a bunch of times. So step number 1, super cool layout. Number 2, super cool layout. Again, they've repeated it for a little bit of unison, a little bit of theme, which you wouldn't get otherwise. Again, this image is quite images, especially when you don't have any color other than black and white in your website. Images need to be black and white as well, but sometimes images that are black and white get quite dense, like this one. So this image initially, if it was in color, it would be very, very color heavy. So for example, I believe the dress, the car, the background stuff would have a lot of color. So when you're getting images which have a ton of color to black and white, they usually get weirdly dense, and so it's a good idea to have a ton of white space either just next to them or all around them, and they just get these principles so well, so perfectly. Again, this text font is again super duper amazing. I am a little bit sad over how we don't get to see it often enough, especially in the site, but the fact that it gets featured as the title font in the cards is also complete chef's kiss, super duper awesome. Again, this text box is just complete aces from my side, just the whole different font size thing, and also making sure a ton of white space is present. These people are very, very careful. One thing you can say for certain is these people are extremely careful with their white spaces, with their breathing room. Get it just right. Truly the work of an expert UI designer. Again, I just noticed this when you hover over, when you just scroll, these images just get skewed from the middle. Check it out. When I'm just abruptly scrolling, they just abruptly pinch in the middle, which is a really nice effect if you want to prevent the user from abruptly scrolling. One of the reasons in heavily animated sites people get headaches is because the designers do not account for abrupt scrolls. Abrupt scrolls plus a lot of motion will give you a headache. So if you have an abrupt scroll in your site, just really quickly sort of have this pinch effect. Rohan says this site does not open in my browser. I'm using Firefox, so if you could like try and switch to Firefox, it might work. I'm not sure if it works in mobile, because many times cool sites don't work in mobiles, which is such a bummer. They're not responsive. I don't know anything about this one, so I won't say anything. I haven't checked it out really, so just if you're having problems with anything related to all of this stuff, leave a question, something in the Discord group. It's in the description. So when you keep on scrolling, they always perfectly account for the abrupt scrolls that users are going to make. So whenever I scroll abruptly, just watch very carefully when I'm abruptly scrolling. I abruptly scroll and this image just does this very quick skew animation from the middle, which is perfect. Just check this out. Skew animation from the middle. Psh. Super duper cool effect. Just happens every single time you abruptly scroll. Doesn't happen if you're smooth scrolling. Does not happen. So basically it prevents the user from getting into a habit of abruptly scrolling. Many times when you see something like this, you're alarmed immediately, and then you're just trying to smoothly as possible. And again, a bunch of these, maybe something went wrong here, but I'm not going to nitpick. It's just me. And again, these numbers and stuff are on point. I believe this font family and this font family are exactly the same. It is truly a shame how we don't get to see a lot of it, a lot of this font family, especially on the website, but maybe there were just too many fonts. Also, this middle font, description font here and description font here is same, which is perfect, especially considering the fact that they've changed one font out abruptly in the middle. But again, even their abrupt shifts are working perfectly in their site. I am a little bit concerned with how at their 12th or at their 13th site, am I losing battery? What is going on? Why is this? No, I am fully charged. This site just is extremely dull and extremely dark, which honestly scares the hell out of me. I am a little bit concerned at why they've kept on 15 different cards of this same layout, 14 different cards of the same layout, when they could have given you 4 cards, kept things fresh, and added a read more button. That would have been so much more elegant as far as layouts are concerned. So they could have added a read more button after 4 cards. 14 cards is just an extremely long scroll, although we did get to discover this abrupt skew animation, but it would have been perfect either ways, even if it was only in the 4 cards and then it was present with the other 10 hidden cards as well. So I am a little bit concerned with why they didn't add a read more, but maybe it was just to show everything off, so I'm not going to question it too much. Again, check out how this image, why are all of these so dull? Why are they so dull? Like I just feel like they've been getting dull and dull as we go along. Every single time they scroll out of view, this card, when it scrolls out of view, it fades out with the perfect 1 to 0 opacity, does wonders for that job. So just check it out. We're scrolling out, and then it just reduces by its opacity when it's scrolling out. So its opacity very smoothly goes from 1 to 0. So that's the stuff to do. And again, awards and recognitions, I love the fact that they've broken up the text multiple times. Why does this, when you could have done like white text, why did you do such dark gray text? I am a little bit concerned with that, but you get what you get, and it's just not always do you have all of these perfect sites. Like, why would you not do a bright color, especially when there is a whole font break that you need to show off here? I like the fact that it's quite subtle. If you're looking at it carefully, there is a little bit of a circle which surrounds the and it just keeps things fresh, doesn't let you mix up and with this broken recognitions, and so that's the stuff to look out for. Again, infinitely scrolling circles works perfectly. When you hover over it, it just brightens up. And also, this is a reverse, did you guys check this out? This is a reverse implementation of the CSS SVG, of the SVG line that animates when you hover over it. We've seen this in like every 3rd out of 6th site on awwwards.com. This is a reversed implementation of that. So usually these lines just fill up on the other side. This time it's just going back when you hover over it. So this is quite cool as far as line SVG fills are concerned. Again, this is just continuously scrolling here and here. They've put down their awards, studio of the year, site of the day, site of the year, and stuff like that. Again, cool sites. don't hesitate to say hello. I love the fact that they've broken apart the text, some newness for once. Again, continuously rotating video, which is a full circle moment considering how we started this page. The complete hero section of this landing page, that was quite cool as well. And also I love the weird new fabric like line, especially when you hover over it. This is the stuff I'm talking about. Usually they just have a line SVG fill when you hover over images, but the fact that when you hover over it, it does this really electric shock kind of vibe is just complete expert stuff to me. This again I said this before, I will say it again. When there is spacing and you want to add a little bit of space, but you want to direct the user from say hello to our team without distracting them about anything else, draw a diagonal line. That's just going to save you so much problems, so much confusion. Also, there is just this difference in font size which is quite noticeable. All three of these, perfect, top-notch stuff. Ton of white space. They do not forget what white space is, where it should be, which is so amazing. These circles have finally been used to highlight important text, which is an extremely cool effect. I used to do this for a very long time too. I don't know why I just stopped. I believe I just overused it so many times and just forgot all about it. But again, super duper cool as an effect. You do not expect text to be rotated by like 90 degrees. So this is again a super duper cool thing to watch, and also this is just a super duper cool UI. Especially the whole monotony and the whole cramped up feel is broken apart by A, the huge amount of white space, and B, the whole cursor which gets hijacked into a laser pointer. Especially when you sort of hover over these lines, I am a little bit skeptical as to why they didn't do these lines electricity kind of lines in the beginning of the page. Like, that would have been pretty cool, but maybe there was just so much stuff that they've kept out a really cool Easter egg for later, which I also appreciate considering the fact that they have managed to get the first part of the site so interesting. I still like the laser pointer. I've not gotten bored of the laser pointer. Like, you could leave me with this for hours and I'd be like a cat. This marquee tag works in the bottommost part and at the topmost part, not in the middle, which is quite nice. Sometimes people overuse marquee tags and it just gets boring, so they've gotten that on point as well. Overall, 10 out of 10, maybe even an 11 out of 10. I would say an 11 out of 10 for the most part. Cool site, awesome work, and also fabric and electricity sort of inspired underline, which is also going off in the opposite direction. Usually they go off to the right side, this time it's going off to the left side. Continuously animating video or GIF vectors, super duper cool stuff. Maybe it's the best site we've ever seen on this review segment in the last 7 days which we've been doing this. Mammoth Peckle is the next site that we're looking at. This is an adventure site and it's just a lot of color and it just screams adventure in your face. I didn't do anything up until now. That was the loading animation, if you guys saw that. Again, video slideshow-y feel which scales the text up in your face does make the whole thing interactive. If you guys want to see how to implement this effect where the image is in front of the text, I can do that. We did that in Figma a couple of days ago, but that was with one of our clients. So if you want to see how to do this super duper cool effect where one of the images is in the background of the text while some hands, feet are at the front of the text, we can do that. Let me know, we'll do it in Figma at some point. Super duper cool stuff. Again, if you guys want to make your own case studies, I have got the simplest hack for you. It happens at 8 PM today. Make sure to sign up with the live chat, pinned comment. It's the best masterclass. You can join me live on a group Zoom video chat. You can ask your questions there, then and there. It happens in an hour, so do not miss it. Sign up now. Do it. Sign up now. Layout here is on point. And also this site has something that I wanted to discuss and I wanted to see for an extremely long amount of time. So let's just sort of keep on going. This is a pretty simple layout. I do like this weird box which just reveals this navigation bar. Such a new thing to see. And also you have these completion scroll bars. So this is a cool effect. But especially here, when the text gets boring, just like a sticker book, when the text gets boring, next to Danny Arnold, put a small image of the same font size as Danny Arnold. So describe who Danny Arnold is an image. This is a wonderful way to break apart the monotony of the text. Maybe they could have added an image of like him adventuring next to adventure. I would have liked to see this effect go on for at least a few more times. But again, it does bring your focus to Danny Arnold at its very center, even if you don't end up noticing this text. Maybe they could have added like a temperature icon emoji, something, especially with minus 40 degrees Celsius, which is super duper cool, super duper cool, super duper cool, both literally and figuratively. Again, let's just keep on scrolling, and I like the fact that when you start to scroll, the whole background just becomes darker and darker with each scroll, taking into account where you're scrolling, what you're scrolling with. These colors are these languages are so awesome because you can get to switch them right here, right now. Cool if you're looking for like a multi-language site, and if you don't want to populate the topmost bar of all of those language switchers at the very, very top. Ton of white space at the bottom, ton of white space at the top. Images here, video playing, which is nice. There is a little bit of a description of what this is. You could go and shop with this button, and you can just stop this video, which is a nice break from our usual monotony where video keeps on playing, and it does not care if you have a spinny head after watching the video. So nice to see it from that point on. Again, small amount of text, perfect. A large difference in font size, perfect as well. I like the fact that they haven't used serif fonts in this adventure site, because serif fonts may be a little bit more too sophisticated, not fit the vibe. Either go with all of those hardcore road rage kind of, there is a font called road rage, do check it out, or bangers. Either go for like road rage or bangers, which are in your face adventure type fonts, or don't go with any of those at all. Just stick with your usual fonts, keep it a little bit light, a little bit easy on the eyes. It's especially if you're going for something like this, an adventure site. A ton of white space here, a ton of white space at the top. Beautiful stuff. Again, this does just parallax, which means this scroll speed of this component is so much different from the background, which is quite nice to see. Like this image has already scrolled out of view, so if even if it was at equal footing, and then this seems to be with you even after this guy has already gone up out of the viewport. So that's again parallax. If you want to check out very cool parallax right now, there is a video by Tim Gabe on it. We might make at some point, but when we do, it's going to be super duper cool, much more out of the world. If you are, Rohit says hi, hello Rohit. If you are looking to make your very own case studies, make sure to sign up with the first link in the live chat. Do not miss it. It happens in like half an hour now. I'm just checking the time, and also you get to join me on live Zoom call where we ask questions, talk about UI design as a whole, look at the quickest way of building out case studies, and also incorporate an element of AI into it, which is my special surprise for you. Let's just keep on going. Let's just keep the show going. Sorry about that. I like the fact that when you hover over it, it just changes your colors from orange, which is right here, to this exact same shade of blue. It is always nice when the image's colors and the colors inside of your text are on point. That's the ultimate color equality for me, ultimate ever. Again, these just sort of switch out, and this font size and this font size are extremely different. Perfect if you want your user to focus on this first and also have a ton of white space. Check out what happens when I start scrolling. This image just sort of comes into the center. We have done this with our SAS app splash screen, and also the follow your cursor unicorn tutorial. Actually, we have done it primarily on the follow your cursor unicorn tutorial on UI UX design with Figma. Do not miss it. When you keep on scrolling, this text actually scrolls into view from an opacity of 0 to opacity of 1, which is again nice stuff. Ton of white space, perfect. And this just stays with you. This is such a new layout, especially for navigation bars, just providing the whole site in one big frame, and also having all of these progress containers, which is quite nice to see. You can shop for this jacket. Beautiful use of the call to action, especially if it's contained into a specific corner. Hold on a minute. All right, let's just keep on going. Let's just keep on going. That was just me getting sidetracked. Let's just keep on scrolling, and when we start to scroll, these images just sort of become bigger and bigger, and also now the site has actually started to pick up on our scroll location and just keeps on filling up the whole progress slider here, which is also quite nice to see. Again, we keep on scrolling. There are a bunch of images. There is a bunch of like Spotify like video embed, which is quite nice to see. Again, they have always managed to balance out their videos, their images, by providing a stop button for images so that it doesn't get you dizzy. Nice work on that front. Let's just keep on scrolling. A ton of text, maybe, and I think sometimes UI designers have the weapons, they just don't know where to use them. Like, you could have all of the technology, you could know how to do the job, but you just don't know where to direct that at. And I feel like that is exactly what happens right here, especially when you go to the beginning of the site where you have something like this go on perfectly. Just takes my heart out with the way it just works so perfectly. But then immediately after that, you have this huge chunk of text. You could have added one or two icons. Even if you weren't particular on adding images, you could have added an icon or two from Iconify or something like that. But again, this does become a meh sort of container, especially when you don't have something to break apart this monotony. There is a little bit of white space which doesn't make the site too clumsy in one place, but again, proper image, proper display. I like oversized layouts. This is a nice thing that's going around now, and this is where the fun starts. So you are basically scrolling below, but this is now scrolling horizontally, which is quite nice to see. Again, more images for you to see. You could play the video, or I believe the song, I'm not sure which it is. Full-sized image overloads on your site are such a cool trend that's going on, where the image takes up the whole part of your screen, nothing else. It's just a nice trend, a nice break from everything that's going on. Super duper cool stuff. Again, they could have added like an icon or two. The orange does break apart the monotony. They know what I'm talking about, because they have added an icon of going outside here. So they could have added a couple of more icons, especially when things got boring, but who's to say anything here? And now they start to reuse the principle of, if you've made a really cool UI design component, use it multiple times. So this is exactly the same pattern of the background video and stuff which we had with the jacket. Same exact image, full image overlay. This is an image slideshow which switches as you start to scroll, which is quite nice to see as well. Again, a bunch of images that sort of are there for you to see, and also the way they've put in all of these videos which pause and play is always such a nice thing to see. This just check out this whole breaking the ice. I don't know if you call it like stalactites, stalagmites, or what they call these huge chunks of ice, but this is just a weird crack which is so fine. It also guides you through the journey of where you are. A cool brownie point for getting Easter eggs across perfectly. Just a cool point. And again, they know how to add icons, they're just not adding them. This is why their site gets boring. It does. Full text overlays are always going to be, full image overlays are always going to be my favorite. This text keeps on scrolling. I feel like beyond a point, this site is so extremely long that it just gets boring to look at. But again, check this out. This is exactly what we saw a really long time ago. So this site does get boring, and the size of the scroll bar will tell you that. Again, this I have full surety that this helmet is going to do the exact same thing the last jacket and coat did. Let's just keep on scrolling. Check this out. Same exact thing. And this is where the whole thing just gets boring. So I'm just going to keep on scrolling. We've seen these components, we've admired them. Same exact thing happens over and over again. Maybe they could have added like a read more section, or broken this down into 4 different pages. One page for jackets, one page for boots, one page for like shoes, and one page for hats, and given out links to those. Like this is just weird stuff at this point. Like they could have added 4 different pages, made 4 pages out of it. Like everything is just put in one page, which just makes your landing page boring. You want to make your landing page interesting, keep your landing page, provide it one instance of each of these components, and also buttons, 1 or 2 instances at max, and buttons for each of these pages. There's no need to cram up landing pages of 4 different objects in the same page. That just makes your site boring. RKS, if you have a site which you want us to review, make sure to join the Discord group. It is present in the description. Just join it and we'll review all of your sites. Let's just keep on going. And with that, now this is where your navigation bar just really starts to set in. This is where navigation bar starts to set in, and this is where you can start to explore it. Like you can go ahead and change your pages and stuff. So I do love the fact that they have given us a lot of a lot of stuff to browse. But now they are just reusing the same components, switching out the text, which is going to be boring to say the least. Like we've seen all of these effects. I do like this whole SVG fill, so when you start to scroll in, this jacket man just sort of pops up out of nowhere. This is quite nice, but I believe for the rest of the site they'll basically use the same exact effects. Again, super duper cool site. Did Beagle load? Beagle did not load for some reason. I did see it a really long time ago, but who knows if it works anymore. With that said, if you are a UI UX designer wanting to launch your own case studies, your own portfolio, I have the quickest method for you, simplest, most elegant method, and it also has a component of AI into it, so it's new age. Do not miss it out. It's the first, you can sign up in the first link in the live chat. Just join up really quickly from there, and it's going to be super duper fun. I'm going to see you live on a group Zoom call in half an hour. Just sign up with the link in the live chat or in the comments, pinned comments, description, everywhere. Do sign up, do not miss it, do explore it. It happens in like 30 minutes, so you have to sign up quickly, and I will see you then. Until then, keep smiling, keep designing, and take care. Bye.